Welcome to this week's Who the Folk podcast. I'm Lonnie Goldsmith, the editor of TC Jew Folk. And this week we're joined by Ross Fishman, a choir teacher, composer, and the founder of Barside Baby Music. We talk about his musical roots, how Barside Baby Music got started, and his process that he goes through when he composes on this week's Who the Folk podcast. Ross Fishman, welcome to the Who the Folk podcast. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And so I should say thank you for hosting us, because we are here in your basement, which doubles as the classroom, if you will.
Yeah, you can call it that.
Classroom for Barside Baby Music. So, for starters, what is Barside Baby Music?
Well, it's a music class that parents have the opportunity to have some Jewish education or some Hebrew literacy for their kids, and also just kind of schmooze with each other. Maybe meet some folks that they haven't met.
What are the ages of the kids that have tended to be so far as you've gone through this first summer of the class?
Yeah, well, the name is Barside Baby, but we have kids that fit up all the way till 5 years old.
Oh, okay.
They can kind of all sing together and play together. It works really nicely.
And we are sitting at the bar of Barside, and to my right, which, again, you can't see because this is not a visual medium, but there is the menu, the schedule of how the class works, and the menu of beverages to choose from. Where did the idea to, obviously the iced coffee, Kahlua, screwdriver, summer shandy, very nice light drinks for a Sunday morning. Where did the idea for this concept come from?
Well, first of all, just because I have a son who's almost 2,
okay,
and I wanted him to have some music this summer, and I figured, well, because I'm a music teacher, I might as well have my own class. And in our house here, we have the instruments next to a bar. It happens to be just how the room is set up. So that's kind of how the idea came about. And then I also kind of think about all the breweries on the weekends. People bring their kids and have a beer while we're at the brewery. So it's kind of like an idea to combine that with a little more educational aspect to it.
So you mentioned you're a music teacher. Where are you teaching right now?
Yeah, I teach middle school choir in Buffalo.
Okay. Sure. It's about a half hour west of here.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So talk about your music background a little bit. Where did your love of music, and obviously with the drum set and the 2 acoustic guitars down here and piano, you play as well, I assume. So where did that start?
Well, grew up in Plymouth and went to Armstrong High School, and they were known for, and still known for, a really strong music program. Mm-hmm. I'm sure some of the listeners will be like, yeah, that's right. I know. A lot of great singers go through there.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I knew that I wanted to be a music teacher myself, and especially teach choir. So that's what I've been doing the last 10 years. Kind of been going abroad as well, actually. I taught in Israel and China. Now I'm back in Minnesota. And in between the school years, I did a lot of song leading at Camp Olami at the
JCC.
At the J,
yeah.
So, yeah, that's been my experience in a nutshell.
So were you always a camp person growing up then? Is that what sort of kept you connected to the camp world?
Absolutely. Went to Herzl Camp for many years and always enjoyed the Ruach and learning Jewish songs, and then leading with guitar as well. It's been good memories for me as one of my first jobs growing up.
Was the guitar always your first love, or were there other? I mean, like I said, there's other instruments down here, but was that sort of your primary instrument growing up?
No, not at all. I played piano primarily.
Okay.
Then later on in high school, we learned guitar, and then in college I had to learn a little more. And if you learn guitar, you just learn the chords, and you're able to do hundreds of songs. So it's been useful just to have that, and it's easy to transport and bring with you.
Certainly easier than the drum kits.
Yes.
So as a music teacher for Barside Baby Music, what are you hoping the kids pick up, and what kind of progression have you seen from the class as you've gone week to week?
Well, we have opportunities for families to go to more than one class, but most of the people are one-timers.
Oh, okay.
But I definitely think that their kids will get more out of it if they're here multiple times.
Yeah.
I'm doing a lot of Hebrew songs. So my wife and I speak Hebrew to our son in the house. And I think that's something other parents would love to have their kid pick up some Hebrew as they're so young and they can soak it up. So I try to want to provide that kind of an immersion atmosphere. So, the more they hear these Hebrew songs and what the movements are and where their body parts are, it'll stick,
And at that age, it's sort of, there's very much a sort of, movement class aspect, I'm sure, I remember doing music classes with my own kids when they were younger, and it was very much about sort of movement and, learning how your body moves and what the body parts are and things like that. And so I think it's a nice opportunity to be able to teach them in another language how to do that.
Absolutely. And, not every family has their child going to a Jewish preschool. And it might not be so intense with Hebrew until they get to, Talmud Torah or the day school.
Right.
So I think it's a good time period where they can pick something up. It's a good option.
So is your wife Israeli?
She is. She was born in America, here in Minnesota.
Okay.
Made Aliyah after high school. Went to the army. Was there for 10 years.
Oh wow.
So her Hebrew is pretty good, fluent.
Better than yours, I'd imagine.
Yeah, she's fluent, and I'm conversational.
Okay. I ask only because the decision to speak Hebrew to your son, sort of thought that was where that decision came from.
Absolutely. I think in a year or two he'll probably surpass me in grammar and vocabulary.
No. And he's only 2?
Yes.
Oh, well, that's going to be a tough day for you, I think.
But I'll stick with it, and I'll probably improve with him, as he gets older.
Well, that's great. So what other, besides the teaching both here and in Buffalo, were there other sort of musical endeavors that you did growing up here in the Twin Cities? Obviously, there's a great music scene in town here, so were you involved in that at all?
Oh, in high school we had a rock band, actually. That's where I was doing the drums.
Okay.
But to be honest, outside of the educational area, basically the Jewish music world is where I've been.
Okay.
But I am expanding in my composition, actually.
Oh, really?
Have some Jewish compositions for choirs that are now being published. So that's something I'm really excited about, and separate from kind of the teaching world.
There's a lot of liturgical music that gets taught in school choirs, and obviously most of it comes from the church. Are you hoping that some of this repertoire that you're creating can be integrated into schools?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. So basically, as a Jewish choir director, I get to see all the Hebrew songs that are available, and a lot of them are like preschool songs, that teenagers are supposed to sing.
Right.
And no wonder they don't get popular. It's like Dayenu, like there was a new arrangement of Dayenu. That's a preschool song, and you expect 17-year-olds to be interested by that.
Right.
So I'm trying to kind of
elevate
it and put a more like contemporary feel to it, kind of take some Hebrew blessings and take that text, but add more of a contemporary piano behind it, things like that.
Okay. What's the biggest challenge you've found to creating that kind of composition?
It's a good question. Well, it just takes time, I think, for me. It's
Yeah.
not like, it comes out in a week. Like, it takes me months,
Wow.
More so that, just to find the time too. And it has to be organic. It has to come to you. And you have to be passionate about something. So this last piece I wrote that I'm hoping it'll be published. I was kind of reflecting after the school shooting in Florida.
Sure.
And so I thought about how I want schools to be a sacred place where we can learn in peace. And so I used the text from Birkat Habayit, which is in every mezuzah in our homes and buildings, and I put that in the song, and I did put some English to it, translation, and it was actually a really great experience. We performed it at our school this year, and one of the parents, this is a rural area, no Jewish at all, stood up and said, "Amen."
What?
And someone came up to me at the end. They're like, "I didn't understand most of the words, but I understood shalom." And that was very, very inspiring. Thank you so much.
I don't know what else you could take away from. I mean, that's, again, like you said, it's, not a lot of Jews, any Jews out in Buffalo. That's kind of amazing.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of these schools we take music from all over the world.
Sure.
Like songs from Africa and South America. And so it's normal to be very worldly, but I still think the Hebrew genre can expand.
Yes.
Were you in any music program?
No. I tried playing violin at 5 or 6, and as we've said now, there's nothing worse than like bad violin being played, and I'm pretty sure that's what I was doing then. And tried guitar and drums and just didn't quite have the rhythm for it. I keep thinking it would be fun to play guitar though, like to pick it up and try to play.
I have a adult friend who's learning. He's teaching himself.
Really? See, now, I mean, I'm old enough that I grew up without the internet, so there was no YouTube videos showing chords or anything like that. Like, you had to get driven to a music store and learn playing there. So it's I think learning to play now is a very different experience, obviously, as an adult, with opportunities to teach yourself.
Absolutely.
So,
and
but
I heard your kids are at camp too, so you probably have some time on your hands.
Well, I have. Well, they will be when this airs. They will be back from camp. But yes, they. Yeah, I had a 5-day window earlier this summer with no kids, and didn't take enough advantage of it. So, Ross, besides the composition that you're working on, what other things outside of the choir world are you working on right now?
Well, this year there will be not Barside Baby continuing, but there will be opportunities for young Jewish kids, babies to about 5 years old, to still have the music class. And I can't really announce where it's going to be because it's not finalized yet, but it will be somewhere in the western suburbs.
Okay. Well, stay tuned on that, I guess. That sounds very exciting.
And hopefully we'll bring back Barside Baby for next summer.
Well, that's good because I think anybody with young kids needs an excuse to have a beverage in the morning.
Why not?
Well, Ross, thank you so much for having us. Last couple of questions. Favorite Jewish food?
I have to say I kind of resort to Israeli Jewish food, if that qualifies.
That absolutely qualifies.
Say shawarma.
Okay.
There's shawarma and hummus.
Can you get good shawarma here?
There's naf.
Okay.
That's really authentic, in my opinion.
Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. No, I love their shawarma there. So
yes.
I just didn't know if it was considered authentic enough for somebody who, cites Israeli food as their Jewish food of choice. And favorite Jewish holiday?
I like Pesach.
Because of all the songs and I feel like you can
songs,
incorporate your song
absolutely.
leaderness into it.
Yeah, absolutely. The songs, the traditions, the sitting around at the table. I like that atmosphere.
Well, excellent. Well, Ross, thank you so much for joining us. Check out the Barside Baby Music Facebook page, where you will keep us updated on the next classes and hopefully the next stage of whatever you hinted at coming down the road.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks again to Ross for joining us. If you haven't yet, please subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. We are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and others. If you have a recommendation for somebody who'd be a great guest on the podcast, please email me. You can get me at editor@tcjewfolk.com. Thanks so much for listening, and we will see you next week.